Welcome back to the Gold IRA Blueprint podcast. Today we're diving deep into something that's really important for a lot of you out there, especially those going through a divorce, um, and trying to plan for retirement at the same time. So we're going to be talking about protecting your Gold IRA.
Yeah, it can get pretty complicated divorce. Even when you have the best retirement plan and gold IRAs, they're no exception. So we want to make sure you understand exactly what's going on so you can make smart decisions about your savings.
Absolutely. And before we go any further, I want to remind everybody about a great resource we have. It's over at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. And it's a free checklist to help you pick the right Gold IRA company. Having the right partner can really make a difference, especially when things are changing, like during a divorce.
It really can be a lifesaver. And while you're going through all this, let's get into the nitty-gritty here. One of the first things you need to understand is the legal side of gold IRAs when you're getting a divorce.
Right. It's not as simple as splitting a checking account, right?
hmm
What are some of the things we need to think about legally?
Well, in most states, the laws try to divide things fairly in a divorce. It's called equitable distribution. So it's not always 50-50. The court looks at a lot of things to make sure it's fair. And that goes for your gold IRA too.
So even though it's for retirement, it's still part of what gets divided up.
Exactly. Your gold IRA is considered a marital asset just like anything else. It's not automatically protected just because it's for retirement. And that's where something called a qualified domestic relations order comes in a QDRO.
The QDRO, what's that?
Think of it like a set of instructions for the court and the banks on how to handle the gold IRA during the divorce.
So it's kind of like an official guide for everyone involved.
Exactly. And here's why it's so important with the QDRO. You can transfer money from a retirement account to an ex-spouse without getting hit with those big tax penalties you'd normally get for taking money out early.
Oh, so it helps keep the tax benefits of the Gold IRA even during a divorce.
That's right. You don't want to lose a big chunk of your savings to taxes, especially when money is already tight during a divorce. And speaking of taxes, that's another really important thing to understand about protecting your gold IRA.
You got to think about the taxes both now and in the future, right?
Absolutely. The important thing to remember is that gold IRAs usually have the same tax rules as traditional IRAs, so your money grows without being taxed. But you have to be careful about taking it out early.
So if you take money out of a Gold IRA before you retire and you don't have a QDRO, you could get hit with a lot of taxes.
Yeah, you could be looking at a 10% penalty on top of your regular income tax. That's a lot of money you don't want to lose if you don't have to.
Ouch, that's definitely something to avoid. It seems like it would be a good idea to talk to some experts who really understand this stuff. Financial advisors, maybe estate planning lawyers and tax people.
You're thinking along the right lines. Having a team of experts who know about precious metals and divorce law can really help. They can figure out the best way to divide the gold IRA so you don't lose too much in taxes and your investment stays strong for the long haul.
Makes sense. Now, before we start talking about estate planning after divorce, I want to remind everyone about that free checklist over at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive.
Yeah, that checklist can really help you out, especially when you're dealing with all the ins and outs of divorce and retirement planning.
It's a great resource.
Mm.
All right, so let's move on to talking about estate planning after you've gone through a divorce. It's not just about splitting things up during the divorce, it's also about setting yourself up for the future and making sure your wishes are followed.
That's a great point. One thing people often forget after a divorce is to update their estate plan, especially the part about who gets their money when they die, those beneficiary designations.
Right, if you don't update those, your ex could still inherit your Gold IRA even after the divorce.
Exactly. And you probably don't want that after going through a divorce. While some states automatically take your ex off as a beneficiary when you get divorced, it's not always the case, and you shouldn't rely on it. It's better to be safe than sorry.
So what's the most important thing to do once the divorce is final?
Go through all your beneficiary designations and make sure they're up to date, especially for your gold IRA. You want to make sure your money goes to the right people according to your wishes.
Don't put it off. Get those beneficiary designations updated right away. Got it. Now let's switch gears a bit and talk about gold itself. I've always been fascinated by the fact that gold is seen as a safe haven, a place to put your money when things are uncertain. And it seems like that could be really helpful for someone going through a divorce when their financial world is kind of upside down.
You're right. Divorce can be a really tough time financially for a lot of people, and gold has this way of making people feel more secure. It's a real asset you can hold in your hand. It's not just numbers on a screen, and it's not tied to the stock market, which can be really comforting when everything else feels chaotic.
Yeah, I've heard from a lot of our listeners that having some of their wealth in gold gave them peace of mind during their divorce. It's
Mm,
like having something solid to hold on to when everything else is changing.
exactly. And when you combine that stability of gold with the tax advantages and the potential for growth you get with a gold IRA, it becomes a powerful way to protect your wealth during and after a divorce.
It all makes sense. So how can someone integrate a gold IRA into their overall estate plan? Are there any specific strategies or tools that are particularly useful in this situation?
Well, one thing we often recommend is using a trust to hold your gold IRA, specific an irrevocable trust.
An irrevocable trust. That's interesting, but I'm not really familiar with how that works. Could you explain a little more about what it is and why it might be a good option for someone who's gone through a divorce?
Sure. So an irrevocable trust is different from a revocable trust because once it's set up, you can't easily change or cancel it. This can be really helpful when you're planning your estate, especially after a divorce.
So it sounds like it offers more protection and stability. What are some of the specific benefits?
Well, for one thing, an irrevocable trust can potentially protect your gold IRA from creditors. That means if you run into any legal or financial troubles down the road, your gold IRA that's held in the trust might be safe from creditors.
Wow, that's huge. It gives you peace of mind knowing that part of your retirement savings is protected even if something unexpected happens.
Exactly. It's all about creating a safety net for your financial future. And besides protecting you from creditors, an irrevocable trust can also make things better for your heirs when it comes to taxes when they inherit the gold IRA.
So there are potential tax benefits too. It sounds like using a trust to include a gold IRA in your overall estate plan can be a really smart move, especially for someone who's dealing with the complexities of divorce.
Absolutely. It lets you customize your estate plan to fit your needs and goals while taking advantage of the unique benefits that gold offers. Now, before we move on to the next topic, I want to touch on one more important thing, state laws.
Oh yes, in our research, we realized that the rules can be very different depending on where you live.
Can you talk a little bit about how state laws affect how gold IRAs are handled during a divorce?
Of course, state laws have a big impact on how assets are divided during a divorce, and that includes gold IRAs. Some states have what are called community property laws, which usually means that any assets you and your spouse acquired during the marriage are split 50-50, no matter who earned or contributed more. Other states use equitable distribution, which means the court decides what's fair based on things like each spouse's income contributions to the marriage and even who filed for divorce.
So, where you get divorced can really make a difference in how your gold IRA is treated.
Definitely. For example, in a community property state, your gold IRA might automatically be split 50-50 even if you're the one who put most of the money in it. In an equitable distribution state, the court has more flexibility to consider the unique circumstances of your marriage and how much each spouse contributed. Wow, that's a big difference. It really shows how important it is to understand the specific divorce laws in your state. Knowledge is power, they say, and that's especially true when you're trying to protect your finances during a divorce.
Absolutely. Working with a lawyer who specializes in divorce law in your state can be invaluable. They can help you understand the process, fight for your best interests, and come up with a plan to minimize the financial impact of the divorce on your gold IRA. And speaking of helpful resources, don't forget about that free checklist we have at goldirablueprint.com for exclusive.
It's a great tool, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed with all the details of a divorce. That checklist can help you find a good and trustworthy gold IRA company, which can make a huge difference in protecting your investment.
Yeah, it can definitely help you figure things out, especially during a divorce when there's so much going on.
It really is helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about how state laws can affect your gold IRA during a divorce. You mentioned community property states versus equitable distribution states.
Mhm.
Can you explain a little more about what those terms mean and how they impact gold IRAs?
Sure. So, in a community property state, anything you and your spouse acquired during the marriage is considered joint property, and it's usually split 50-50 during a divorce. It doesn't matter who earned the money or whose name is on the account, it's all considered shared.
So even if one spouse was the primary breadwinner, the gold IRA would still be split evenly.
That's right. In a community property state, the focus is on dividing everything equally, regardless of who contributed more. On the other hand, in an equitable distribution state, the court tries to divide things fairly, but it doesn't always mean a 50-50 split. They look at a bunch of different factors, like each spouse's income, their contributions to the marriage who filed for divorce, and things like that.
So in those states, the court has more flexibility to decide what's fair based on the specific circumstances of the couple.
Exactly. The judge has more leeway to consider things like if one spouse stayed home to raise the kids, or if one spouse had a much higher income than the other.
So it sounds like it's really important to understand which type of state you live in and how those laws might affect your gold IRA during a divorce.
Absolutely. It's crucial to know the rules of the game so you can protect your interests and make sure your gold IRA is divided fairly. There's no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to divorce and retirement planning. You really need to understand the specifics of your situation and the laws in your state to make the best decisions.
I couldn't agree more. Now, speaking of making informed decisions, let's circle back to that free checklist we've mentioned a couple of times. It's available at goldirablueprint.com, exclusive. And it can really help you choose the right gold IRA company, which is especially important during a time of transition like a divorce.
It really is a valuable resource. Choosing a reputable and trustworthy company can make a world of difference when it comes to protecting your gold IRA and ensuring a smooth transition during the divorce process.
It's like having a reliable partner by your side to help you navigate all the complexities.
Right.
And speaking of partners, let's talk about the importance of working with experienced professionals during a divorce, especially when it comes to your gold IRA. Who are some of the key players you recommend people consult with?
Well, first and foremost, you definitely want to have a good divorce attorney, someone who specializes in family law and has experience dealing with complex assets like retirement accounts and gold IRAs. They can guide you through the legal process, protect your rights, and make sure your interests are represented.
Makes sense. So a divorce attorney is a must-have on your team. Who else should you consider?
A financial advisor who specializes in divorce can also be incredibly helpful. They can assess your overall financial situation, help you understand the short-term and long-term implications of different settlement options, and develop a plan to protect your financial future.
So they can help you make smart financial choices during a time when emotions might be running high and it's hard to think clearly.
Exactly. And depending on your situation, you might also want to consult with a tax professional. They can advise you on the tax implications of dividing your gold IRA and help you minimize any potential tax liabilities.
So it sounds like building a team of trusted advisors is crucial when you're going through a divorce and you have a gold IRA to protect.
Absolutely. You don't have to navigate this alone. Having the right experts on your side can make a huge difference in ensuring a smooth and fair divorce settlement that protects your financial well-being.
Right. It's all about having the right people in your corner. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's often overlooked but incredibly important after a divorce: updating your estate plan. This is especially crucial for anyone with a gold IRA because beneficiary designations can have a big impact on who inherits your assets.
You're absolutely right. Many people forget about their estate plan after a divorce, but it's one of the most important things you can do to protect your assets and ensure your wishes are carried out.
So what exactly does updating your estate plan involve, and why is it so important specifically for gold IRA owners?
Well, the most important thing is to review and update your beneficiary designations for all your accounts, including your gold IRA. A beneficiary designation is basically a legal document that names the person or people who will inherit your assets when you pass away.
So if you don't update your beneficiary designations after a divorce, your ex-spouse might still be listed as the beneficiary on your gold IRA.
Exactly. And that's probably not what you want. It's essential to make sure your beneficiary designations reflect your current wishes and that your gold IRA goes to the people you want it to go to.
So don't procrastinate on this. It's one of those things you should take care of right away once your divorce is final.
Absolutely. You don't want to leave anything to chance when it comes to your estate plan,
Yeah.
especially with the gold IRA, which is a significant asset. Make sure you have everything in order and your beneficiary designations are up to date.
God, update those beneficiary designations as soon as possible. Now let's talk a little bit more about gold itself and why it can be such an important part of a retirement plan, especially for someone who's gone through a divorce or is going through a divorce. We've talked about the tax advantages and the potential for growth, but what about the emotional side of things? How can gold provide a sense of security and stability during a time that can be really uncertain and stressful?
That's a great point. Divorce can be a really emotional and turbulent time, and it can really shake up your sense of financial security. Gold has this unique ability to provide a sense of grounding and stability. It's a tangible asset that's been a store of value for centuries, something you can hold in your hand, and it's not subject to the whims of the stock market or the government.
I've heard from many listeners who say that having a portion of their retirement savings in gold gave them a sense of peace of mind during their divorce. It's like having a safety net. a tangible reminder that they have something of value that can't be easily taken away.
Exactly. It's a psychological comfort that can be really powerful during a time of uncertainty and transition. It's like having a safe haven, a place to put your money where you know it's going to be protected and hold its value.
And that peace of mind can be just as valuable as the financial benefits of gold,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Having that sense of security and knowing that you have a portion of your wealth in a safe and stable asset can help you approach the divorce process with more confidence and make more rational decisions.
So it's not just about the numbers, it's about the emotional and psychological benefits of knowing that you have a solid foundation to build upon as you move forward with your life.
Precisely. It's about having a sense of control over your financial future and feeling confident that you're taking steps to protect yourself and your loved ones.
So gold can be more than just an investment. It can be a source of comfort and stability during a time of significant life changes.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to consider including gold in your retirement plan, especially if you're going through a divorce or anticipating any other major life transitions.
Makes sense. Now, before we wrap up this part of our discussion, I want to remind everyone about that free checklist we mentioned earlier.
Oh, yes, that's right.
The checklist is a fantastic resource for anyone who's considering a gold IRA. It can help you choose a reputable company, understand the different types of gold IRAs, and make sure you're making the right choices for your individual situation. You can find it at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. So if you're thinking about adding gold to your retirement plan, or if you're just curious to learn more, be sure to check it out.
It's a great tool to have in your arsenal as you navigate the world of gold IRAs and make informed decisions about your financial future. Absolutely, it's a great way to get started and learn more about gold IRAs. Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive today, what are the key takeaways you want our listeners to remember when it comes to protecting their gold IRA during a divorce?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to be proactive. Don't wait for things to happen. Take charge of your financial future and make sure your gold IRA is protected.
Exactly. Knowledge is power. The more you understand about the laws, the taxes, and estate planning, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions about your gold IRA during a divorce.
So it's all about being informed and taking control of the situation.
Right. Don't just assume things will work out the way you want them to. Be proactive, review your beneficiary designations, consult with experts, and create a solid estate plan that protects your interests.
And don't forget about that free checklist over at goldirablueprint.com/Caray. It's exclusive. It's a great resource to help you choose the right gold IRA company and make sure your investment is in good hands.
It's a fantastic tool that can really simplify the process and give you peace of mind.
All right, so as we wrap up this episode, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. We've talked a lot about the financial aspects of gold IRAs and how they can be protected during a divorce. But beyond the numbers, what about the emotional side of things? How can gold provide a sense of comfort and stability during a time that's often filled with uncertainty and stress?
That's a great question. I think it goes back to the fact that gold is a tangible asset that's been a store of value for centuries. It's something you can hold in your hand, it has intrinsic worth, and it's not subject to the volatility of the stock market or the whims of politicians.
I've heard many people say that investing in gold gives them a sense of peace of mind. It's like having a safety net, a tangible reminder that they have something of value that can't be easily taken away.
Exactly. It's a psychological comfort that can be incredibly powerful during times of uncertainty and transition. It's like having a safe haven, a place to put your money where you know it's going to be protected and hold its value.
And that peace of mind can be just as valuable as the financial benefits, right?
Absolutely. Knowing that you have a portion of your wealth in a safe and stable asset can give you a sense of control and confidence as you navigate the challenges of divorce. It can help you make more rational decisions and feel more secure about your future.
So gold is more than just an investment. It's a source of stability and peace of mind during a time when those things are often in short supply.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to consider including gold in your retirement plan, especially if you're going through a divorce or anticipating any other major life changes.
Great advice. So to all our listeners out there who are going through or considering a divorce, remember to protect your gold IRA. Seek expert guidance and allow gold's enduring strength to provide you with a sense of peace as you move forward with your life. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into protecting your gold IRA during divorce. We hope you found this information helpful and empowering. Remember, knowledge is power, and you have the ability to take control of your financial future and create a more secure tomorrow for yourself. And don't forget to check out that free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. It's a great resource to help you choose the right gold IRA company and make sure your investment is in good hands. Until next time, stay informed, stay proactive, and stay golden.